Hello, I'm Hildra Tague. Come join me in my classroom life with infamous sayings of these my children. You know the famous sayings books that they used to have? Well, these are infamous sayings. We will be having humor, sometimes inspiration and ideas for teaching, for teachers, parents, or anyone who is interested in the well-being of children. Our motto for this channel is, we cheer them up when they need us. We cheer them on when they don't. Okay, get your grin on. Here we go. Of these my students, the star-fangled banner. As school clothes still look new, we're reminded that school days are here to stay. Parents think of peace at last. Students think of work and friends. Teachers think of past years and hope this is the best yet. This is where I found myself on this particular day in the small private school where I taught. The driveway had a pothole. A parent and I were chatting about how happy we were to get it fixed so we wouldn't have to worry about a spring breaking. Her son piped up, "I don't have to worry about my spring break. I always get one in March." A good beginning to a school day is a patriotic song in the pledge. We all know it so well. Or do we? A young child asked if it was time to sing the Star-Fangled Banner. Is that a newfangled melody or a Halloween song? Then, of course, the Pledge of Allegiance brings more than its share of interpretations. Some children probably think the Founding Fathers really liked liver because they always say for liberty and justice for all. If you have any young friends, I'm sure they have taught you about the Statue of Liberty. Television has also made its mark on the pledge, as I've noticed one child saying, "One nation, under alls," in complete seriousness. Commercials make quite an impression on kids. Our students develop quite a loyalty to their work. One mother called me and said her daughter was furious that she wouldn't bring her at 5 a.m. that day. The child was sure I had asked her to come at 5 o'clock in the morning. I had said she might come in 5 minutes early and I'd help her with that hard page. Who said listening was easy? The ear can play tricks on the wisest of scholars. We were all singing the Ballad of Casey Jones one day, and the kids were really into it. Some of them belted out about the tombstone that was in the seminary. Must have been a religious song. When we finished singing, a boy looked at the cloudy sky and reminded us that there was a 50% chance of rain today. We encouraged students to help each other. One boy was willing to spell the word wanted for another one. He clearly spelled out O-N-E-D-I-D, wanted. A teacher's work is never done. Later we wrote letters, and a student wondered if we should send them with the mailman or with partial post. People often complain about lost packages. Maybe it was sent partial post, so the job was only partially done. For me, myself, I use parcel post. Reading is no easier. We were studying vocabulary, and a boy had the word cologne. Another said, "I know what that means. It's a person that looks just like you." I had to think a minute about that. But then there was Dolly the sheep that was cloned. One student read in a magazine that funny guy was a commodian. I tend to call him a comedian because I don't like to joke around much in the bathroom. For some reason, I took a few extra turns reading that day. I just wasn't up to much more explaining. Perhaps my highest point as a reading teacher was when a knee-high reader got excited about a brochure I passed out that day. And he asked with his whole heart, "Will we really get to see the book fairy?" I had to take a little time right then and explain about what a book fair was. Who said details aren't important? However, the next year I incorporated the term book fairy as a label for one of our library volunteers. Social studies brings us all into the middle of our world. While we were reading a weekly newspaper, one child read about the Yahtzee River. Wonder if they play dice on the boat there. I guess they changed the Yankees' name since I was in school. Every year we study community helpers. When the fire engine passed, a boy noted, "There's a communion helper!" I've seen candles at communion, but never actual blazing fires. I read the students an exciting story when we studied the Revolutionary War. That day at recess, a kid was heard to yell, "Cease and desist!" Thank goodness no one died at recess that day. The presidents always provide stimulating conversation, but this time, those time concepts involved in history are so difficult to grasp. I mentioned that we used to have a president named Jackson. A kid wondered why presidents always change their names. First there was Washington, and then Jackson, and then now. Well, I knew our president had been around for a while, but not that long. When I send my children to lunch, I try to say something positive like, "Have a nice lunch." One day my brain just shorted out. A kid asked to go to the restroom when it was just about lunchtime, and I caught my mouth saying, "Have a nice..." Thank goodness my tongue stalled out at that point. At lunch, we relaxed from our hard labors and visit. One boy's brother and sister had the chipmunks. I've always heard it called chicken pox. Doctors always use technical terms like chicken pox. A girl shared with us how overjoyed her granddad was with his new truck. A fellow reminded us that we need to get trash bags because Friday was garbage delivery day. I was bragging on the class later for coming in from lunch so quietly, and one of the kids explained, "That was our New Year's revolution." In fact, they did so well that day that this class had extra time for computer liturgy. But that was all so long ago. As a first grader reminded me recently on a rainy day, he told me of a time when he couldn't even read, when I was just a little boy. Don't forget to subscribe so you can hear some more of the stories and poems and teaching tricks from 40 years of my classroom life. Till next time, shine those kids until they learn to shine themselves.